Hi guys, it's me, Cat. This is HandyRU. Hope you're all doing really well today. So recently Juan was on with Tom, and Tom asked a question that I thought was great. He said, are we going to see an arrest of President Trump? And Juan said, who's Diana usually, oh yeah, that's already happened. So I thought that was cool. So to me, if Diana, Juan as Diana, means, I'm going to read right off my paper. When Diana plays President Trump, they were all already caught, the Garden of Eden and the cross. They had a second chance at the cross to make things right. And so they were already caught, and they're out basically on their own recognizance. That's the way I look at this. The four witnesses, and I think they're President Kennedy, Jackie, John Jr., and Diana. Now, I could be wrong, right? I always say I can be wrong. And it's okay to be wrong. We're just theorizing, you know? And so he said, oh, yeah, that's already happened. So, so I think that, like I said, they're out on their own recognizance, but they have to do everything that they're told. Like, they're told what to say, what comms to give us, what character to be. I don't think they have any choice. And like I said before, it's too weird sometimes to think about Diana or anybody being in so many places and so many characters, because how is that possible? And I just figured it just can happen, because of who they are. They're like gods and goddesses, and, I can't question that myself. But Carrie Cassidy, who's one of them, said probably about a month ago now that time travel isn't what we think, and that people can be in many places at one time. So that's the way I look at it at this point. They can just do so many things at one time. Take it for what that's worth. I don't know. So if they're already caught, that means, yeah, that's already happened, because they were arrested, if you want to look at it that way. And like I said, let out on their own, but they have to do what they're told. I don't think they're wearing ankle monitors, but it's almost the same idea. Yeah, so I thought that was interesting. Yeah, and he said, for they'll process him. This is going on for what Juan said to the question, are we going to see President Trump's arrest? They'll process him. They'll go before the judge, and let him go on his personal recognizance or bail. He's going to speak at Mar-a-Lago at 8:30. That's the plan. And then he goes, these people. And I didn't write it all down because I didn't need to go on and on. But these people, because there's several of them. And he's not really talking about President Trump, unless, it's Diana playing President Trump. And the judge is God, Yeah, let him out on his personal recognizance. And anyway, I thought that was cool. Maybe you don't think that's cool, but I think it was cool. Yeah, so this is going back a little bit, but I haven't been feeling good, as you probably know, but I have lots of notes. And anyway, there was a newspaper article, and it was based on one of the Trump trials. I'm not sure even which one, because there's been so many. And Reuters had a headline, and I'm sure you're going to remember this: man dies after setting self on fire outside New York court where Trump trial was underway. And I remember hearing about that going, I bet it didn't happen, because almost nothing in the news is real anymore. So anyway, it was with three authors of this article, like, it takes 3 authors to do an article. That's just silly. Luke Cohen, Jack Queen, and Andy Sullivan. I don't think I've decoded all their names, but just saying Jack Queen is enough for me that, you know, they wrote it. Setting self on fire, because remember I do things by phrases or certain words, and in Jewish it's 662, and it equals the simulation and All Fool's Day, like they fooled everybody. And setting self on fire in simple is 203, and you drop the 0 and you got 23W, which, you know, Juan called as W for over 16 years, in other words 17. And setting self on fire, like I said, is 203, and it equals Gematrix calculator, which is one way to calculate Gematria. That, you know, I know lots of people do it other ways, but fine, everybody can do it the way they want. It's fine. So simple 203 also equals secret code, and I'm sorry, secret code calculator, and artificial intelligence, you know, like AI, but artificial is the key word in there. Like, this is fake. And another one for 203, setting self on fire, is disinfo agents in the media. I mean, that's really all I had to read was that one. And let's see, the first referenced thing that was in quotes in this article was evil billionaires. And evil billionaires in Jewish is 1069, and it equals simulation matrix. It's all fake. And evil billionaires in simple is 173, and it equals political dummies. So it was a dummy that was set on fire. Okay, that's because everybody probably, you know, there were witnesses to this event. And he was identified as Max Azzarello. Here we are with the double letters again, ZZ and then double L's and 2 A's even, of St. Augustine, Florida. Now I could have done St. Augustine and all that, but I didn't. But the name Max Azzarello is in simple 150. It's another false FLAG, the flappy thing on a flagpole. So that means it was fake. So if you're ever concerned, I've said this before, if you're ever concerned about something in the news that you're hearing, either like live stream or anything, just take some names and a place and work on it, decode it, and you'll go, oh my gosh, that's fake. That's usually what hits the headlines, you know, the big news. Let's see. Oh, and back to my tattoo man, you know. Oh, and it's funny. That made me just think, oh my gosh, you know, remember Fantasy Island, and the guy there was Tattoo. That's so funny. Anyway, I'm sure that would work out to something, you know. The word tattoo, he's got tattoos all over him, and I think he's someone else. And, well, I already told you in the last video, his full name goes out to Diana Frances Spencer. So that's who I think it is, really. So I turned on the live stream last night. I didn't know it was on, but he does one every night. I should know that by now. And so I just turned it on. Now, prefacing this, I had talked to Lisa D, and I said, you know, I've got this mold up in the corner of my bathroom, but the way everything is situated in the bathroom, the ceiling's too high, and I can't get to the corner. I can't put a step stool there because it's too awkward with everything else in the bathroom, so I can't reach it. So I was trying to figure it out, what to do. I mean, obviously I don't want mold in there, and anyway. So I turn on the live stream, and he or Diana, or however you want to look at it, said, this is the first words I heard on the live stream. Use diluted bleach. Put it on a mop and get mold off the corner of a bathroom ceiling. Okay, what do you think about that? Like, sometimes I can't believe, I, it's just amazing. So, um, so of course I said thank you in the live chat. Now he doesn't leave the live streams up, so unfortunately, but I think it's because he wants more people to get in on the conversation and actually be there. So unfortunately, you can't go back and rewatch a live stream. Like I leave mine up, and you have to look at the top heading on the homepage and look for live stream, because a video is like this one. It's recorded and then it's put up. It's not live. But if you want live stream, you have to look over, a couple over on the homepage. He mentioned tunnels, flyers, thousands of flyers. Now, I didn't decode flyers, but it made me think of, you know, planes out there. The fake, it looked like all fake, like maybe China and Russia are all attacking and all that kind of thing. And then he said Moab, Utah, and of course Moab also equals mother of all bombs. So that, you know. And then he talked about crazy Mormons. Tom was a Mormon, not anymore, but when he was a young man. So I thought that was like a cool, probably a reference to him, I'm not sure. And then he talked about inverter for the whole house. I think he might have been talking about solar generating, because I have an inverter for a small solar generator. And to go from DC to AC power. I hope I didn't say that backwards. I'll be embarrassed. So he said inverter twice, and it kind of made me think, you know, invert just is change. And I'm thinking, you know, man to a woman, because he's really a woman. And then he had a lot of numbers, and unfortunately I didn't figure all the numbers out. He talked about silver. He talked about if my mother were dying and someone tried to stop me from seeing her. And then he talked about hospice. And Tennessee is horrible. Don't take that personally if you're from Tennessee. I don't think he means that. I really don't. And he said nothing like Kentucky. And then he said Hollywood libtards have second houses in Tennessee. And like I could have coded the phrasing there, but I just kind of took it for myself again. I take everything for me. You probably think I'm weird, but you know. But I've been looking at tiny homes for like 9 years, and they're built in Newport, Tennessee, incredible tiny homes. And I've watched it on YouTube literally that long. And I really kind of want one. I mean, I do, but I haven't like pulled the TRIGGER. I'm afraid to even say that word to do it. And they have some that are only $20,000. So if you know anybody who needs like a home, you know, you look at incredible tiny homes in Newport, Tennessee, because they're really honest and upright, and they fix things if they're wrong. And I mean, these people are wonderful people. So I feel like it was almost like a reference to me again. I don't know. And he said if loved one was dying and someone tried to stop me, he talked about that quite a bit. And I don't know how that came up, but like I said before, he looks at live chat and he responds to live chat. And I've got a feeling that he was talking about when it looks like President Trump is gone. I've got a feeling. And he said, I parted the seas to see her. Parting is a biblical kind of reference. And then he said, go ahead and convict me. I dare you. Nobody would stop me. And to see a loved one. And he mentioned hospice, and we used hospice for Mr. Handy. And, convict me, like Diana and all these other people were guilty in the Garden of Eden and at the cross. At least that's the way I see it, just me. And I forgot to decode fuzzy nuggets. I think it's on another paper, but he kept talking about the ducklings as these, he had an incubator, I think that's what it's called, and he had the duck eggs, and they're a special kind of ducks, and he called them fuzzy nuggets. And like I told you last video, look on one of his shorts, and you'll see him with the ducklings, and you see how fake the mask is, at least to me, and the teeth just don't look real. They just look too perfect or something, like they're just kind of slid in there, over the other teeth. And he mentioned dying loved one again. This is probably the 4th time he mentioned dying loved one. And like I said, I still think it's President Trump, and also the ones that have to meet the beast, like in Revelation 11. Let's see. And I could be wrong, I don't know. And I just told the story to one of my daughters about, and it was the same day. It wasn't the day before, it was the same day. And about an episode when I was way back in college, and I had a prom date, and the person, we all get in the car, my roommate and I, and her date and my date, and we were going to go just to the other side of campus, and the campus police pulled him over for drunk driving. And I didn't think he was drunk, but anyway, it's almost like they had his number. And so that's what I told my daughter. I talked about that. I never had told her that before. And he said he shouldn't have been drinking and driving. This is what Kenneth said. And then he talked about there is a plasma state of water. I thought that was interesting. But I have the plasma tubes from Spooky 2, and for killing bad stuff and for healing and all that. And if you don't know about Spooky 2, you should look it up. Spooky2.com. It's awesome, and there's a million videos out there about from Spooky 2. It's using frequencies to either kill the bad stuff in you or heal. It's all frequencies. And from what I understand, the FDA, which has got to be controlled by the White Hats, like most everything, like media and all that, has approved frequency usage. And so the FDA approved that. So there's a good sign right there. And he said carny, like a carnival barker, like a guy saying, yeah, come on up and win this and all that. Well, that's my doctor's name, the last name. So I just think this is so cool. And he mentioned London twice, like that's a Diana reference, and Manchester, Kentucky, which there's one in New Hampshire where I am. And he was complaining about millennials or whoever he's referencing that say they can't afford to live where they are. And he said, buy a used trailer and plop it on some land. I have all these acres, and I think what he's saying, I could put all kinds of people on here and buy a used trailer. And to me, it was kind of like a reference to my tiny home want or desire. And he said, rent land, $350 a month. There's a 35 for President Kennedy again. And then he said, ouch and ow. And I wish I checked you can't check a timestamp on a live stream. So you can't see what the numbers were when he said ouch and ow. So I suppose I should have just coded ouch and ow. And in live chat, I said something about I'd like a tiny home. And he says, I wouldn't want to live in a tiny home. So that's kind of funny. He said, if I can get a home for $10,000, why would I want to get a tiny home for $20,000? So, because some of the cheaper tiny homes that these guys make that I told you about, incredible tiny homes, they're $20,000, but they're made like a tank. Not like a used mobile home or trailer. These things that I'm looking at are tanks. He said, I tore that guy apart at Kroger's. So I think he's, kind of referencing, I had an argument. But I think Diana and all those people are literally doing that. Like, that's so creepy to think about. But I think these people, these cabal people have no chance of continuing on in their little lives. I tore that guy apart. And he said they're whiners. And I don't know if that's a reference to wine or what. They don't want to do anything. Those people needed help. Didn't like what I had to say. Didn't like what I had to say about him. And it gets, like I told you before, it gets disjointed because he's reacting to what people say in live chat. So there's all kinds of, it's hard to follow. Like, you almost have to write down everything from live chat and what he says. And to me, that's really almost impossible. And he said, what's the name of that movie? He said, twice said that. And he said, The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. So he said, and then he said that movie name twice. The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, if I didn't say it clearly enough. So, yeah, warfare. It would be a good movie to watch, too. Literally. And I'm sure there's stuff in that movie to, care about. And then he said, see me in the ditch 3 times. Painted the windows shut. Now, windows shut and sealed makes me think of like a fake chemical attack or bombing of some kind that releases things. He was talking about Vegemite. And he said smashed in between. He was talking about sandwiches, but something about potato chips smashed in between. And, that could be like bombing or I don't know. It's something violent. Vegemite, and that, besides Australia, it made me think of this song from Men at Work. And, I came from the land down under, and like underneath us and under the earth, things going on. He talked about heavenly. Nutella is heavenly, so he talked about heaven. And then he said, I don't eat meat. So that was kind of a literal thing. Oh, and Juan said, I don't think I'll get to it. Juan said, when he was in Japan, he said something about have to get used to the food. And I didn't get I think he said raw things like I like. And I think he means, raw fruits and vegetables and not really raw meats and things. Because I get all the time that we're not supposed to eat meat and lots of things like that in coding. So he said spam, only 4 ingredients, and almost saying like it's a positive thing, even though he doesn't eat meat. It's pork in spam, and that was canned meat. But I think there's the 4 witnesses, so the 4 could be a reference to the 4 witnesses. And Spam was the name of my cat many years ago, so that was cool. I mean, she was supposed to be Samantha, but she got nicknamed Spam, and because she was pudgy, so that was cool. I mean, how often are you going to hear your cat's name on a live stream? Let's see. And he said, I don't have any secrets. I was like, LOL, that's funny. Ask any questions you want. And he talked about across the pond in the UK. That to me is a Diana reference. And ask any questions, because you ask questions of them and you'll get answers. I really, really am serious about that. Maybe not necessarily live stream or something, but you'll hear it and you'll know what the answer is. What are you supposed to do about this, that, and the other thing? And you're going to know. They're going to tell you. So I said UK and mailbag twice, and he said old mailbag, and a friend of mine gave me, it was not new, and that's fine. I knew it wasn't. It was great, but it's a great big old mailbag, a bag that I use for mail. That wasn't like just a few days ago too. Let's see. Yeah, because I live too close to the post office, so they won't deliver my mail. I think I've probably complained about that to you before. So I have to go to the post office to get my mail. And then he said watching in Scotland, and my grandparents were both from Scotland. And Scotland is 88, and so is Trump. And then he said code writing, because that's what he's doing. He's coding. So he said code 3 times. He said, I hate avocados. Disgusting. Doubt if they're I love avocados. he said, we're going to give you free stuff. And he said it sarcastically, but he said it 2 times. And I think he's being literal. There will be free stuff out there for people. And he said, Americans are way too nice. Then he did a Trumpology, as I call it. He said, IRL, kind of like IRL. And he switched it to Ireland. And IRL is 39. And it said team, Jackie, 10, and Magdala. So I don't think it was Jackie that night because there's so many London references and UK references, but saying that there's a team and Jackie matches and all that, I think that she's doing this as well with the same kind of mask. And he said coffee many times, and he said tea is way better than coffee for you. I would say organic tea because they'll spray it if it's not organic with all that weed killer. And anyway, I think now I'll do a little bit more. Then I made a coffee bar behind me, so on top of everything else, I made a little coffee bar. But anyway, one of these days I'll get everything right, you know. Let's see. And okay, I watch the old Johnny Carson videos a lot at nighttime before I go to bed, just like in the old days. And there's a lot of Johnny Carsons that are full of comms. I mean, he is definitely in on this, and he's in a Clouseau video. And that it's one of the latest or more recent Clouseau videos. They are always at Trump rallies, and if you're looking for him and you haven't seen him, it's CLOUS, only one S, EAU, and there's maybe 11 of them, and they have people who you thought were gone, passed away, and they're all at the rallies. Yeah, so it's really cool and fun. And Johnny Carson is there, so he's definitely in on this. So someday I'll decode his last show before he left, because that is just full of stuff that's great. So during a monologue, and this was 1972, 12/14/1972, and there was a thread hanging on Johnny's coat. It's on purpose. Everything is important. So this long thread, and Ed McMahon, who's also been seen in a Clouseau video out in the audience, kind of the audience where people stand in the front where President Trump is. They're not sitting, they're standing. So Ed McMahon is there too. And so he said, there's a thread hanging on your jacket. And then Johnny got the thread off. But threads, it's a reference to threads, like in our social media. You get threads, right? And you're following a thread. You're going along and seeing what everybody commented and what other people said. And in 1972, there wasn't any threads like that. And so they're talking about the future. That's the way I'm looking at this. And on this video, he said it was about 22 minutes, 42 seconds. I know that doesn't sound like about, but I didn't get quite the seconds right. Johnny said once he had to wear a dumb bunny suit. And he said dumb bunny suit 3 times. And remember, there's an Easter bunny next to President Trump and Melania when he was still POTUS. So it could have been Johnny Carson in that, and not like our junior like we always thought. And there was 2 Easter bunnies this past Easter for the Easter egg events at the White House with the Biden and Jill. So there wasn't even 1 Easter bunny there. There was 2. So it's like mirroring the Easter bunny. So, what if he was in one of those? I think that'd be so fun. So I'd like to meet Johnny Carson. I really would. And I've like said it out loud, like, hi, Johnny. I'd like to meet you. I really would. And I wouldn't bother you too much. I just talk to you a little bit. Anyway, so anyway, I think that's enough of that. And I'm kind of still, the voice thing is not great, but I hope everybody's doing okay. And I'm sorry I don't get on as much as I used to. And, you know, please forgive me, all you members. I'm sorry. And thank you for your comments. And, Vanessa sent me a really nice, this is the second time she's written. She was on the live stream last time, and she sent this pretty card and a really nice letter inside, and she had a question, and I haven't answered yet, Vanessa. I will get to it. But look, isn't this pretty? Look at this pretty scripty card. Isn't that pretty? So, but I will get to it and answer you. So thank you, Vanessa. And things like that mean a lot to me. I appreciate it. So anyway, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other, like I always say. And till we meet again. Bye-bye, guys.